So, there are times in our lives where we encounter failure, when things don't go as planned. And in times like these, we may be tempted to ask, why is life unfair? The question is life truly unfair? So good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My name is Yao, and that question is the title for my speech today. Now, here's the thing. Is life unfair? It isn't necessarily the case. Life just works with a different set of rules than what we perceive them to be. These rules are a bit less comfortable to accept, and I find that if you acknowledge them, it may very well shatter the beautiful image that you have in your mind of what life is supposed to be. Now let's take a look at some of these rules, shall we? So first off, life is a competition. Now, from a young age, we are taught to not be overly competitive. Our parents would tell us, just be yourself, or the biggest competitor is actually yourself. These sayings aren't inherently wrong, as they do serve the purpose of motivating you to do better next time. However, do not be mistaken. Life is indeed a competition. The dream job that you want, the perfect partner in your eyes, someone else wants them as well. Now, in these situations, things that are naturally in high demand would lead to competition. If you were to deny that competition exists, you're already one step behind everyone else. Think about this. People dress up to win partners. People put their best foot forward in job interviews in order to win that job that they want. If you want to achieve your goals, you do need to acknowledge that competition exists and that you need to be willing to fight for it. When the opportunity arises, do not throw away your shot. Now for the next point. Now society in general places value upon things that we can do, not how we think. For example, let's say a surgeon. His skills are capable of saving hundreds, if not thousands of lives. And as such, he or she is highly regarded and will also receive the appropriate rewards from society. Now for the purpose of this point that I'm trying to make, the rewards I'm referring to is rewards that is bestowed upon by other people, such as fame, status, admiration, money, etc. As for personal rewards, such as happiness or a sense of accomplishment, now that is a topic for another day because it will complicate this point way too much. Now then, as the saying goes, we do judge ourselves based on our intentions, and yet we judge other people based on their actions. It is indeed a good thing to be virtuous. It is commendable. But if you do not have the abilities to back up your virtues, it is essentially meaningless to society because society won't reward you for it. Now, in terms of getting rewards, we may think that this is how it goes. As long as you put out a high quality or you put in a lot of effort into something, you would have the best rewards. Now this may be true for some situations in life, but more often than not, this is what usually happens. This is how you actually gain rewards. It's the number of people's lives that you can potentially impact that would directly correspond to the amount of rewards that you can get. Let's say, for example, if you were to save a cat from a tree, you would be considered a hero to its owners. But if you were to find a cure for cancer, you'd be considered a hero to the entire world. Similarly, if you are a really good swimmer, nobody really cares. But if you were to win an Olympic gold medal, suddenly everybody wants to be your friend. So the bottom line is, if you do want to gain rewards from society in general, you do need to take a good hard look at what you have to offer and the number of people's lives that you can impact. And moving on to my last point. Our idea of fairness is essentially self-interest. Now, in times like when we were younger, we were taught that if you were to do a good deed, you will be rewarded. If you were to do a bad deed, you'll be punished. It's very black and white and it's simple. Reality isn't that simple. It isn't that black and white. You could work really, really hard, clock in overtime at your job, but just miss the promotion. You could love a person with all your heart, but they don't love you back. Now, in situations like these, the problem isn't that life is unfair. It's our broken idea of what fairness is. Let's look at this one example. Let's say, look at a person that you fancy, but they don't fancy you back. Alright? So, for these, this is a completely different person whose life has gone through challenges and different experiences than yours. So what are the odds that out of the hundreds, if not thousands of people that they've met in their lifetime, you're automatically the first person they pick as a partner? Your feelings for them may matter to you, but their decision is not about you. Similarly, we love to hate people or figures of authority, such as lecturers or teachers, and maybe even politicians, especially when their actions disagree with our own views. Well, there are several public figures who are corrupt. Most of them aren't there just to make your life miserable. In fact, they're just trying to do their best with the cards that they were dealt with. Now, in both these situations, their decisions are simply based on their own needs and the circumstances they are in. And in that sense, it's pretty much the same for every single one of us. We're just trying to do our best. It's not a cosmic judgment on our own character. So to summarize it all, in conclusion, our idea of fairness is essentially a facade for wishful thinking. Can you imagine a world where this idea of fairness actually works? Like, companies will only go bankrupt when they are run by evil people. Or couples only break up when both parties kick the bucket. And then a rain cloud will only follow bad people. Sounds crazy, isn't it? The point I'm trying to make at the end is, the bottom line, when we encounter failure in life, we shouldn't blame it on life being unfair. Because that is merely giving ourselves an excuse to not work harder, to just give up, to procrastinate. So remember this, in times of strife, tell yourself that I am the one thing in life I can control. So while